Hello, and welcome to Lydia Nicole's Acting Smarter Now. For those of you actors who are looking to level up or you want to do something different in your career, you have come to the right place because I got some great tips, great information for you, and just wonderful people who have a lot to say. So, my first question of the day is: how are you handling the SAG-AFTRA strike?
That is a really good question. When the writers went on strike, I was like, it had to be done. Good for them. And then I knew we were going to go on strike. I'm actually handling it very well. I am hoping it doesn't last very long. It is something that we needed to have done. I'm one of these people that completely believe that the studios are being greedy. The whole AI thing completely freaks me out. Uh, what? Do we all want cookie cut TV shows? We need to be protected. So, I'm anticipating it won't last long, but I'm breathing. It's okay. It's happened before. It will get resolved and we'll get through it. But I'm glad we're striking because it had to be done.
Yes. Well, today I'm talking to one of my dear, dear friends who I met in an acting class and we bonded right away. She is just charming, wonderful, bubbly, very talented, and very funny. And very wise. She was very wise for her age then when I met her many, many years ago, and she is just as wise today. Please help me welcome Michelle Acosta Betts. And Michelle, before we go on, I have to say she's not only an actor, but she is also a physical fitness trainer. She is a trainer. She works people out, people. I love it. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Lydia. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. It is so good to be here. It's so good I can see you, but hear your voice and be in your presence, your energy, your everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you for having me on.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, first of all, I want to find out, when did you know you wanted to be an actor?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. So when I was really, really little, my mom and dad put me in tap dance. And I'm not a dancer, but it was just, something that you do for your kids. And there was a line of kids, and when the show started, I took a few steps in front, and I was the loudest, and it was like I had to be seen and heard. So that's when I liked the entertainment and performing in front of people. But what really got me is I booked a huge national McDonald's commercial when I was 15, and I swear to you, I was like, I am going to LA and I'm going to be an actress. I loved
love it.
everything about that commercial. And we'd gone to Disneyland when I was young, but I didn't know LA. And they flew me and my mom. We stayed at the Universal Sheraton because that's where it was being filmed right there. And it was just this incredible, amazing experience. And that bug has never left me. Never.
So, when did you come to Los Angeles?
I detoured a little bit. I told my parents when I entered my senior year of high school, I said, I don't want to go to college. I'm moving to LA. I'm going to be an actress. And I loved school. I enjoyed learning. I was very good in school. And my father, he went to a junior college, took a semester off, and got drafted. So he never got a college degree. And he sat me down and he was like, there's always going to be LA. There's always going to be acting. I would really love for you to go to college and get a degree. So I went to Chico State. They're not known for any type of theater or anything. So I actually got my degree in broadcast journalism. From Chico, I moved to Tahoe to save up money so I could move to LA. And I became like a slot girl at Caesar's Tahoe. And so that after I saved a certain amount of money, I moved to LA. And I didn't know anyone or anything. I sit sometimes and go, how in the world did I do that? I packed up my car and just moved to LA. A friend of a friend had a girl that had a twin bed. So I didn't even know her. It was two girls wanting to be actresses in twin breds living in Culver City above Kentucky Fried Chicken.
So, your first year here, how did you start navigating? I mean, it's one thing to have the desire to act, but what did you start doing to figure things out?
Well, I luckily got a job in a nightclub doing bottle service. And it was one of these things where my friend from high school, she was going to college in Pomona. And she called me and she was like, my friend is the manager of this nightclub, my first weekend in LA. Do you want to go? And I was like, sure. And I've never been to a nightclub like LA. So we go to this nightclub and they knew the manager. And I said, oh, I did slots in Tahoe. Are you looking for a waitress? I had a job. It was one of these things that was so like, and because I was working in that environment, I had a lot of other actors to talk to. So most of the bartenders, the other cocktail waitresses, they might not have been actors, but they were in the industry. So I slowly started learning that way. It was crazy because at that time there was no navigation apps. You got a Thomas guide, and I used to get lost all the time. I used to cry. Oh gosh, you know.
I'm only laughing because that happened to me. Yeah. I my first 3 months in LA. Well, actually, the first 6 months in LA, I got lost every day.
Oh, it was so scary. Yeah. And the Thomas guide, you're like, if you've never used one of those, that was intimidating. Everything was intimidating. So one night at the club, a casting director from Central Casting, I waited on him. And he was like, oh, have you ever thought about doing extra work? And so for me, I had only been in a commercial. And I was like, I'd love to do, like, I've never been on a TV set, on a film set. And he got me because I knew him, good extra work. So where I was the stand-in, or where I was Demi Moore's body double in Charlie's Angel. That was such a crazy experience because I was so new and so green. But I got all that from doing extra work. And so I learned a lot about set etiquette, about directors, how they talk. And then, from there, that's when I was like, okay, I need to go to acting class. And I started going to acting class. And then, little by little, you start learning, okay, this is what these actors do. And this is, you have to network and you have to talk to, and, I was still very naive. The first few years I lived here, I believed everybody and what they said. Oh, I'm a producer. Everybody was a producer. Everybody was a casting director. And, you live and learn through mistakes, now it's a lot easier. You could do research on things. But I first jumped into extra work. And when people ask me about extra work, I say, if you don't have experience, do it. There is nothing wrong with doing extra work. You get paid, you get to eat, and you get to see what goes on. So for me, it was like an acting class, and I was making a little money. So yeah. I was lucky because of the commercial. I was already in SAG, so I didn't have to. Getting into SAG is difficult. Yeah. I luckily came to LA, even though I didn't know much in the union.
So. Okay, so this is fabulous because I too believe that actors, when they come to Los Angeles, they should start by doing extra work. If they haven't, if they're not coming here already working, they should at least do extra work for a month or two.
Yeah.
If nothing else, just so that they can get on a set, see how it runs, see the protocol, because there is a protocol on set, that they could get comfortable and go, oh, that's what they do. Oh, okay, I see. Oh, that's what's going on. So they get the rhythm of what it's like being on set. Rush to wait. Yes. A lot of times getting a job, you get on set and you have to get there early, and then you may not get up in front of the camera until later in the day.
Oh, you could wait hours.
Sometimes you're the last one to get up on camera. And so you have to learn how to keep your energies up, how to be ready when they say, okay, we're ready for you. We're taking you on set, that you are ready. You are ready. So yes. I love that.
It's, when you're in the trailer, it's of course there are a little bit of nerves because you're so excited. You got an acting job. And then when they come and get you, it's like magic. It is like magic. It is the best feeling. I love acting.
So what was your first acting class?
My first acting class was on Scott Sedita Studios. It's on
Oh,
Larchmont.
yes.
I did an on camera. I had never taken an on camera class, and that was. I'm really critical of myself, but it was really interesting because I noticed things about my mouth that I was doing that you might not notice. I noticed what colors looked good on me, and it was great to get up, have a script, and start working. That was my first. Then I went to is her name Bobby Brown in the Valley?
I don't
Bobby Chan.
Okay.
I was a little. I'm so sorry.
That's
It's been
okay.
so long. Bobby Chance. Bobby. She has a big studio in the Valley, so it's in this big auditorium, and it was a little bit intimidating. And you could pay as you go. So like I think I went on Sundays, and you pay for that class. I didn't stay in that studio long. I was a little bit intimidated by it. And then I took some time off of class, and then I found my way to Ivana.
Okay. And so we're talking Ivana Chubbuck, not just Ivana, but Ivana Chubbuck,
Yeah.
one of the great teachers in Los Angeles. There are a lot, but she is one of the great. And that's where you and I met.
Yes.
And
yes.
I thought you were so effervescent. You just like were a firecracker when you were doing your scene. Your shine was so magical.
Oh,
So
Lydia, thank you.
I gravitated to you immediately. I was like, she's gonna be my friend.
Well, I was like, who is this woman that is so good and knows so much? I was like, I was so happy when I got you as a scene partner because I was like, oh my God, she's good and she has experience and she's like the best in our class. I want to work with her. And then I got to work with you. And then, I mean, you are just an incredible human being that gives and oh my gosh, Lydia, like I always say, I was so lucky I met you so early in my LA life, and you taught me so much.
Well, thank you. One of the things that I really saw you do early when I met you was you were very good about making sure you had your money.
Yes.
You had a job. You didn't play. You
No.
didn't come to LA to be a starving actress.
Nope.
I love that about you. Like you had a nice apartment. You didn't have 20 roommates, and nothing wrong with that. I'm not criticizing, but you came really prepared mentally to make sure that you had your coins, that you had your finances. You actually were the first actress that I met that was not a waitress but a bartender. And I remember being so impressed. I was like, she's a bartender. Whoa, all right. That you really.
I actually credit the bartending thing way back to Caesars because as a slot girl, you have to know what's in every drink because all of their alcohol is in guns. So they don't pick up bottles when you're doing service like that. So if you didn't call out, you had to call out like vodka, rum, tequila, whiskey, calls, it all in an order because it's all like as fast as the bartender's fingers. They would yell at you, you're going to go back in the end of the line next time if you don't get this right. So I became a bottle service girl. And like I would always tell my managers, I know every drink. And because of that, when a bartender would call out or they would need an extra person, they'd throw me back there. And then little by little, I got regular shifts. But yes, I've always been a worker bee. Like I said, I rode my bike when I was 15 and got a job at McDonald's because they were the only place in my hometown, Tracy, that hired 15-year-olds. Everyone else, it was 16. So I've always liked to work. I've always wanted to work, and I'm a saver. So, and I'm not saying there's anything bad about this. Like, I would work, and I'd see a lot of the other people I work with buy fancy shoes, buy, like, just spend. And I was like, I'm saving. I'm taking this acting class. I'm making sure my bills are paid. And, look, you always have to have fun, but I was like, I am here to be an actress. That is my main priority. I have to do this, this, this to afford this lifestyle. So like, I didn't go out that much because I was working so much, but I got to take Ivana's class. I got to live in a nice building, and you know, it definitely helps with you mentally when you're not completely overwhelmed with how am I going to pay rent? Because LA is very expensive. Everything about LA is expensive. And I'm really good with numbers. I worked at Wells Fargo in college, and then being a personal trainer, it's basically all a number thing. So
Well,
yes,
I love that.
I was very fortunate to get a good job and then to be really responsible with, okay, rent this acting stuff. So.
And what I loved about when I met you was that you had your priorities in order, not just financially, but like you would work at night so you could have your classes. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, no, I work late at night. So I'm in class in the evening. I'm good. I can do my classes. There was never a problem meeting with you to rehearse. Sometimes with actors, you take a class, but then the person can't rehearse with you, or their schedule is so hectic and crazy because they haven't really figured out what they're doing. So they're living like moment to moment. They're so frazzled. Like, oh, I have to take this part-time job. I have
Yeah.
to do this. Oh, I got to call. I got to, instead of setting themselves up to win, they're setting themselves up for a breakdown. And what I appreciated from you was that you were very organized back then. You were like, well, I work here. Okay. I'm available at these times. I'm good for these times. And you were no nonsense. You were about the work. I never went to you. I never had a rehearsal with you where I felt like we're not going to get to the scene today.
Well, that's why you and I clicked so
Ah.
well, because you're the same way. You're like, this is acting. This is why we're here. You're not spending all this money on acting class to not show up and not do the work. That to me, and no offense to anybody, that to me is bonkers, because acting classes are not cheap.
No, they're
And
not.
it's
And the
like,
good ones are really not cheap.
yeah, yeah. Another thing is, like, what I liked about Ivana's studio is that, and I don't know if she still has this rule, that like, if you don't live near the studio, your acting partner has to come to you, or you have to rehearse in the studio, because I know that some that could be problematic with actors. Like if they live way far away and you're living in Hollywood, it's like, but I mean, now it's a little different because of Zoom and things. But yeah, I always lived in Hollywood, worked in Hollywood, and had acting class in Hollywood. But yes, I was always like, these are my hours. Da-da-da. And I'm one of these schedulers. So on Sundays, I start planning my week. And that's just how I work, and it works for me.
I think it's important. I mean, I'm a big believer in scheduling your stuff earlier in the week so that you know where you're going, to be intentional.
Lydia, that's why I love your planner. I don't mean to interrupt you. Your Acting Smarter planner. It's like, oh my God, it keeps you so organized.
Yeah, and even if you're not an organized person, if you just follow the book, you'll be fine. If you can just discipline yourself to go, let me put this, I just had an audition, or I just got an audition, let me write it in my book. Let me write it down so I don't forget it. It's I think for actors, it's valuable to be organized. It sometimes can get you a job, and when you're not, it will cost you a job. So
yeah.
I'm a big believer in that. So I want to talk about two things that you started taking all kind of acting work. Like you were really open to doing reality TV. So
and
you did. Go ahead.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt
No.
you. The reality show I was on, I turned down a few times, and I told my agent, I was like, I'm an actress. Like, I don't want to be on a reality show. And she was like, Michelle, this show is a program. At that time, it was VH1's #1 show. She's like, do you have any idea how hard it is for me to get a client? And she's like, you're basically a series regular. because I didn't know much about reality, and I was like, I don't want to be a reality star. Um, and eventually I ended up doing it because she was right. It gets you credibility. It gets you on screen. And this show wasn't like, I don't want to say reality show is bad, but it wasn't like having people look, well, I mean, there were some people that looked a little dramatic and crazy, but I was able to really portray myself as who I am. So
what were, let's say, 3 to 4 takeaways for you from doing that reality show?
oh man, it was so challenging because you have no privacy. Um, I've always lived by myself. I'm fortunate for that reason. You have cameras on you 24 hours a day. The only time you were not filmed was if you were in the bathroom, the doors were unlocked, and you were microphoned. So they even heard you going to the bathroom. And that was super duper 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 challenging. That was the most challenging thing because it puts a lot of pressure on you because you're always being looked at. And then because I know the business, I was ultra aware I am not going to let them make me look a certain way. So, I was always aware of the cameras, and I was like, no, you got to keep it together. I didn't really drink while I was on the television show because I was like, alcohol and reality, they would put glasses, like come and bring me, because it was in restaurants and stuff. And I would just sip because I was like, I'm not getting drunk and making a fool of myself on TV. And another takeaway is when it aired, I wasn't really ready or I don't want to say prepared because it wasn't a bad thing. I had never really been recognized before, and I was getting recognized everywhere I went. I was like, oh, hey, you're the VH1 girl, la la la. My sister was pregnant at the time. I flew up north, that's where I'm from, and I'm going with her it was when we would find out if it was a boy or a girl. And my sister's pregnant with my brother-in-law, and there's a girl also pregnant, and she looks at me and she was like, you're that girl from the VH1 show. And it just was really, that was the first time it had happened to me because the show was just now starting. But it's fun. And then I got invited to red carpets. Now that is a whole another experience because we all get our pictures taken, and now it's a little more people do it because of Instagram and stuff. But this was people knowing who I am, knowing what TV show, and like having just bulbs. Oh, Michelle, look this way. Oh, Michelle. And it was really scary, but it was really, really fun. Would I people ask me, would you do a reality show again? I would have to, I'm not saying I wouldn't, because after the VH1 show, they didn't offer me, it was a show for like a TLC channel, and they were looking for a trainer, and I made it pretty far. And then I told my agent at the time, because I had just done this reality show, I was like, I can't do 2 back to back because then I'm never going to get out of that genre. Now, however, because it's been over 10 years, I would probably do it again. And now I'd have more knowledge. I wouldn't be so in my head. It was very, very, having those all the time. I mean, when you sleep, when you eat, and I was a lot younger, but it was a good experience. I made it good. They didn't make me, I was portrayed as who I am as a human being. So I was lucky.
But you also had common sense.
Common sense, mamita. You taught me that a long time ago.
I think the big thing is to know no liquor while I'm shooting, because they're looking to see your bad side. They're looking to see your faux pas, your vulnerability. That's what reality TV is.
Yeah.
And you have to know that when you're going in it. It's like, okay, what is my intention? How am I going to beat the system? Because it's a system set up that if you're in front of the camera, they want to see you fall apart. They want, that's good drama.
Yeah.
That's great drama. It gets eyeballs. So I love that you were very aware of what you were doing.
Yeah.
What was the difference for you? Because you started out doing extra work. um, after your commercial, then you did reality TV, and then you started doing sitcoms. You,
Oh,
you got
oh,
into a bunch of sitcoms.
yes.
What
Oh gosh, I love comedy. I love TV comedy. I love film comedy too. But like, if a genie came in out of a bottle, what would you like? I would love to be on a multi-camera comedy like Friends for 5 to 10 years with ensemble cast. And the first sitcom was ABC's Back at the Game. That experience was so incredible because I had done small parts on TV shows on comedy, but I was a recurring cast member. Um, and that was the first time that was for me. So I was a little nervous, but the cast was so generous to me. And then because I kept going back and everybody knew me, oh God, it was the greatest experience. James Caan was in that show, and he was so kind and generous to me. I spent a lot of time with him. I mean, how lucky am I? He's James Caan from The Godfather. And I would sit and talk to him, and oh my God, the stories he would tell me. It was incredible. I mean, rest in peace. He recently died. He is such a wonderful human being, so kind, so nice. He worked for all those years, and just he's class act. He was
was
amazing.
was there a acting tip or something you saw him do that you went, "Oh, I could do that"?
You know what it was? He always said, let yourself shine. Let you go into the scene and bring yourself out. If they don't like it, they'll tell you. Because he was really good about being raw, honest, and being. Everybody called him Jimmy. I'm like, oh, I could call you Jimmy. And you saw it when he worked. He was so confident, and he would go out and do his thing. You know, he wasn't in his head thinking, is this person going to like this? Is this? You know, everybody says the fourth wall, block everything out. He was magical at doing that. Like I'm just sitting down talking to him, and then they'd say, okay, they'd touch up first looks, like they'll touch up your makeup, and then boom, it was like he was this crabby, because he played Maggie Lawson's degenerate father, and he was this crabby, and I was like, he went from this to that, like that, and his essence was just incredible. And you know what, another thing he told me, which I thought was really interesting, because I was talking about all of his acting work, and he's like, you want to know what was really fun for me? He was in Cloudy Have a Chance of Meatballs, the animation, and he actually really enjoyed being in that franchise.
Wow. Wow, that's
Mm.
amazing. And you also did Craig Robinson's
Oh,
sitcom.
so although Jimmy is my favorite actor I've ever worked with, NBC had it was the show Mr. Robinson. It was starring Craig Robinson. It was a short uh, season, only 6 episodes. So they shot the pilot. I wasn't in the pilot, but they brought me in, and I was in the other 5. So there was 6. I was in 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and that is my favorite job to date. I absolutely love multi-camera comedy. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name from Frasier. Roz. Why can't I remember her name? She was incredible, big and funny. And Craig Robinson, like everybody knows him for his stand-up, his comedy. He is such a wonderful, nice human being. Like he's so kind, and he's so funny. So it revolved around his real life, because he's in a real band. He's not a teacher, but it was like a teacher moonlighting and has his band. So my role, I was a cocktail waitress in where his band played every night. And I can't even express how fun it is to perform in front of a live studio audience. A lot of people don't like it. I actually like it the best. I like the energy. I like I'm big, so it allows me to be big. Whenever I do drama, I have to go, okay, Michelle, calm down. Ivana used to yell at me. She says, you're flailing. This isn't comedy, when you should give me drama. You're flailing. And it's so like with drama, I have to remember not to do internal, but with comedy, let alone multi, it's like you get to be big and free. And I love multi-camera comedy. It was so, so, so fun.
Well, it's the best of both worlds. You get
Yeah.
to do theater that gets captured.
Yeah.
So I think that's wonderful. I want to talk about, you're really good with your acting. You're really dedicated in doing the work and showing up, but you also decided you were going to give yourself a business that, what was the thing? Because you decided, okay, I'm going to be a physical trainer. I'm going to be my own boss.
Yes.
What was that? Because you could have said, well, I'm an actor. I'm just going to keep doing the bartending stuff until, the big series comes.
The thing with acting is, and this could go good and bad, up, down, you never know when you're going to get that big break that financially sets you up. It could be forever. It could, I've worked up and down, and there's downs where you're like, what am I going to do? And I was like, I've always been into working out. Like, I remember when I was a little girl, when I was in high school, I would ride the exercise bike. That's when MTV had music videos for 10 minutes and then get up, get ready. In college, I actually had a gym membership. So I've always liked to stay physically fit. But what really did it for me is I went through a really, really gut-wrenching breakup. And I was living at the Crescent on Crescent Heights in Fountain. And I walked up to Crunch on 8000 Sunset. And I got to the gym, and then I became friends with everybody. I was the Pilates demonstrator for a couple of their classes. And also, I loved the show Friends. And I was like Jennifer Aniston. I was like, I started studying like her body. I started reading things. She's very into health and fitness. And I was like, I want my figure to look like that. And I have her frame. And then I was like, I'm going to become certified. I'm going to become a personal trainer. And so I became a personal trainer and became, I don't want to say known in the gym, but everybody knew I was this gym thing. And I just started getting clients. Like, I didn't have to advertise for it or nothing. So I quit bartending. I had a little bit of money saved and just said, you know what? A very, very successful producer, one of them from back in the game, the ABC show, he told me something that stuck in my head. He was like, Michelle, in this industry, and it was his business manager, Bernie something. He was a famous business manager. He passed away. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. But anyways, he said, Michelle, you always have to have multiple pots on the stove because you never know when one will go out. And for me, I was like, I have this skill.
Bernie Brillstein.
Yeah.
Bernie Brillstein.
That's it. Yes,
Bernie Brillstein. Yes.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
And he was this man's talent manager. And I never forgot that. And it got to the point where I was like, I don't want to bartend. Like, working the hours is really hard. I don't want to, be around alcohol. I have this skill and I want to work for myself. So I was able to transition, start my own business, and still be able to make auditions. So I was working at night so I could do my acting, but now I was making my own schedule. And it's just become a really, really huge passion of mine. You can see me. I have tons of energy. So when I'm training a client, that energy is for my client. And I love personal training. I will always be an actress. I'm glad that I can also be a private personal trainer and help people. It's a very rewarding job. But I'm sorry, as far as business, that was my mentality. I was like, I don't want to bartend. And there's nothing wrong with bartending. I made a great living at it and it helped me. So all of you out there who's waitressing, bartending, bravo, good for you. But I was just done with that. And I was like, I want to work for myself. I want to be able to make my own hours and not have to do that. I was ready to put that part of my life to rest.
I love that. Well, what I love is that, again, you are being intentional. You have a great attitude about it, because most actors get very depressed and disappointed they get on shows, the shows die,
Oh,
they end quickly. I mean, it's not like how it was probably when you first got to Hollywood, where shows lasted 7, 10 seasons. It's not like that anymore. If you have 3 seasons, that's great. But it's the seasons are much shorter, and they shoot less. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the strike, is that they're shooting less content. um when I came to town, it was 24 episodes.
oh, I love that.
You had full seasons, and then it got reduced to 12. Now it's 10 or 8 or 6, depending on what, if it's a limited series,
Yeah,
how it works. So there's a lot more work, but it's there's a lot more work available because you have cable, you have streaming, you have regular television, but there's not a lot of money to be made like it was back in the day. I know actors when I first started that made a great living just being an extra. They bought their houses being extras.
yeah,
They weren't worried about income. They also were putting money, they also were getting a pension. They were
absolutely. And
building a
health
pension.
insurance.
And today, that is not necessarily the case for a lot of acting jobs. So I say all this to say, I love when actors, because I'm a believer that you should also have many pots. I call them different streams of income, but pots are great. But that you have, so you're not worried if you have an acting job and then you don't have another one for 6 months, not because you're not good, but there are only so many jobs available. And if you're not right for that, you're not going to get it. It's just not going to happen. And so you have to have other things to keep you going, either that or you develop projects for yourself and find your own money, and then you get that done. But having something that you love in addition to acting, that you can be in charge of, you can dictate your hours. So if you get an acting job, you're not like, oh God, I got to quit this job. I really enjoyed it, but now I got to quit it because they're not going to give me a month off to go do my acting.
Yes.
So I'm a huge fan of what you're doing. I think it's wonderful, and you have such a great attitude. And I think that's part of how we have to show up, is having a great attitude and not go, I hate this job. I hate, because it carries over. It carries over to everything else. You don't realize it, but you still have stink on you if you have attitude
Yeah.
about what you're doing. You're gonna bring it in, because then you go, well, I don't like this acting job, I want that acting job. It's like,
Yeah.
we're not satisfied. No matter what you have, it's not enough. It's not, you're not grateful. So I love your outlook on stuff. It's like, yeah, I like this, and I like training people, because I like giving them encouragement. I like servicing them, and to me, that's acting.
Oh,
Acting
I love
is
that.
encouraging. It
Yeah.
is, I'm satisfied because I went and did this part, uh and contributed to the project. Not, it's all about me, and they didn't do my hair right, and they didn't give me
Hmm.
makeup. It's like, no, I get to be part of this team. How cool is that?
Well, and the
And I
whole, sorry,
go
I'm
ahead.
so sorry. With, I want to touch on when you're like, there might be jobs, there might be other, that the ABC show with James Caan back in the game, we had great ratings. They were like, we're getting another season. It was like they were almost positive. And and then instead ABC went with the Goldbergs. And it was like, we're canceled. It was very, very devastating, but you have to know that that can happen at any time. And, with acting, you don't know when your next job is coming. So
Right.
it is very good to have that other thing going. And you should like what you do.
I
Hopefully
agree.
you get to like what you do. I love that other part of my life, being a personal trainer, and that is satisfying to me. But don't get me wrong, it'd be really nice if another series came along.
And it will. I mean, it
Yes.
will.
Yes.
The good thing about Hollywood is once you start working, you'll there'll always be work. It may
Yes.
not be uh back to back, but there'll always be work because
Yes.
you already broke in. You're already, people already know, oh, we can hire her, she's going to show up, she's going to deliver the goods. And I'm a big believer that if you start working, there is always going to be work for you. It becomes about your intentionality. What is it that you want? How are you setting yourself up for it? And how are you setting yourself up to have money until that time?
Yes.
Because you got to sustain yourself financially,
Absolutely.
and I think many actors don't really understand the concept because they think it's a lotto ticket. It's like, okay, I won, I got it. And I say I was guilty of that in the beginning because I didn't know, I was always thinking, oh, that's okay, I got this job, this is going to be the job that makes me famous. Oh, this is going to be the one. Oh, this is the one. And so what I started learning was it's not about the job, it's about your career.
Yes.
Where do you want to go to? How do you want to get there? What are you doing? What's the vehicle you're in? Because you also have to pay attention to how you sell yourself. You tell the agent or the manager how you want to be sold. And most actors don't know how to do that. They're
Yeah.
just happy to have a job. They're just happy. I got her in a movie. It's like, yeah, but what did you do in the movie? How effective was it? It's not so much a big part or small part. It's like, how did you affect change for yourself in that part? Be-
Well, and Lydia, another thing actors should know. I uh soon into the pandemic, so maybe that was about 2 years ago, I actually fired my theatrical agent, which is a very scary thing to do. It is hard getting theatrical representation. But this agent I had, and when I met with him, he knew. I was like, I'm not going to do nudity. Boom, boom, boom. And he kept on I'd get an audition and it would be like for a Showtime show with one line, full nudity. I'm like, not going to do this. And that kept starting. And finally, I was just like, and I don't even audition for those types of things because it's just pointless. Like, I know everybody says take the audition. No, I don't want
no,
those casting people to know
no.
that I'm not going to do that. And so I bit the bullet and I let him go. But I have a very good talent manager that listens to me. Like, like when you meet with a agent, a manager, like, you got to let them know. Don't say, oh, I'll do this, I'll do this. If you know you're not gonna, you got to be upfront, because then it's a relationship. I always say, oh, finding the right agent and manager is so hard. It's like dating. Just because you want this person, it doesn't mean you're right for them. But
And I
you also have to believe in yourself. And
yes.
again, it was I was like, is this stupid? Should I send yet
No,
another
I
email
bravo.
saying,
I
uh,
think I think you're being courageous. You're also being responsible for your career.
and look,
It
there's enough women out there that are willing to do
to
that,
do
but
that.
that's just something that I don't want to do. Look, Margot Robbie getting naked in The Wolf of Wall Street. Okay, I understand. She couldn't turn that down. I saw an interview on her where she told her parents she didn't. She's like, it was a body double, and then when the movie came out, she had to like say, yes, I had to do it. Like, there's nothing wrong if that's what you choose to do. But just for me, first of all, I don't even think I'd be so in my head. It would screw with my acting. But like, I'm not saying there's anything bad with it. To any actor out there, if you have that confidence and don't care, good for you. I just know that that's something I don't want to do.
And I think it's important. This is a great topic, because I think it's important for actors to have their must do's, can't stands, and I don't care one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's like dating. It is like dating, that you have to be real clear. I don't want to date a pimp. I don't want to date a priest. I don't want, you got to know what it is that you want and what you don't want. I can't be with somebody who smokes. I can't be with somebody who drinks. I can't be with somebody who looks better than me. I can, you have to like kind of be clear on what it is that you want. It's your, it's like going to a restaurant. You order what you like, not what everybody else is having.
Hmm.
You have to be very clear. I don't eat meat. If you're a vegetarian, I don't eat meat, but thank you so much. I'll have the salad.
Yeah.
I'm good with the salad, but I am not having that pork. So it's really important for you not to compromise in the beginning, so that you build a foundation, so that you don't feel like, oh, I shouldn't have never done that. That part is going to come back to haunt me. It's like, no, just be clear. That's why it's so important to have another form of income. So
Hmm.
when, because a lot of times people take those jobs, those acting jobs, not because they want them, but because they got to pay the rent.
Yeah.
Those are pay the rent jobs. Those are not jobs because, oh, I get to be creative in this. I get to really work out my acting ability. No, you tell the truth. I took that job because I needed to pay my rent, or I needed to pay my parking ticket. I needed to have food on my table. I needed to pay the bill before they cut the lights off or the phone off. But if you have a steady stream of income coming in from something else, then you never feel like your back is against the wall, and you have to say yes. That
Absolutely.
and it gives you a certain confidence, that so when you go in to meet with agents, you have your questions for them. Listen, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not going to do this kind of work. Is this important for you? Are you looking to support the actor, or are you just wanting your actors to work? Because that's a important question to ask the agent. Some, especially with low boutique agencies,
Yeah.
they have to keep their lights on, so they're
Well,
going to push you to do the work.
and you actually taught me this so many years ago. You were like, what shows do you want to be in? What shows are right for you? Make a list. If you go into a meeting with an agent, say, these this is in my wheelhouse. This is my strength. This boom, boom, boom. Comment, like I would tell any agent, number one, multicam comedy. Doesn't mean I'm bad with drama, but I'd be like, these are the shows that I think are good for me, and have that list out. These are the characters. Like for drama with me, I like strong, badass characters, like Mariska Hargitay on SVU, Judges. I'm not like, and I can do the weepy crying like wife, but it's easier for me to jump into the DA, the FBI agent, the surgeon who's cocky,
The
than the nice.
prosecutor, yeah, the prosecutor,
Yeah.
the
So it's
the
good to
yeah.
know your strengths. And now there's so many television shows. And again, you taught me this, to be like, this character is who who I love, and have a list of the shows, the characters. It really, really, really helps. And
And not only
agents,
that, since we're there, not only that, but reach out to the production companies, reach
yeah,
out to the producers, reach out if there's a steady director on TV shows, because sometimes on episodics, the the directors are changing all the time. But sometimes they'll have certain directors that will do like maybe 4 episodes from the thing. So reach out to them, find out who the directors are, who the writers are. Send them
yes,
a note, say, hey, I love what you're doing. I love Scandal. It's not on anymore, but I love Scandal. I love Grey's Anatomy. I would love to be part of your team. I would love to be one of the characters and actually write out what character you think you would be good at, because now you might be inspiring them to say, well, let me write that's interesting, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Kind of, I'd be great as so and so's sister, um or so and so's husband's girlfriend, or but come up with something that you really would not only be right for, but it is in your wheelhouse. Because I think as actors, we have to know what we sell, and we
Yes.
have to know what we don't sell. So when you get something that is so unlike you, that you can say, well, I'm not good at this. This is not my shtick. But you know what? I'm a I think I might want to stretch myself. Let me go and get coached on this and see how I do. But not with the intention like, oh, I'm an actor, I could do anything. You are an actor, but you cannot do anything unless you're doing theater, and even then, maybe not. But if you're doing television and film, they're looking at your face. They're looking at your physical body. They're not going to give you something that is out of the physicality of what they're looking for. 99 times out of 100, you are not going to book it unless you come in with such strong um, objectives that they go, you know what, let's tweak the character. We were thinking about a large black woman for this, but you know what, Michelle Betts is hot. Let's just rewrite it a little bit so that it's her. And that happens sometimes, but most of the times it doesn't. So you got to know what it is you sell, how you sell it, and sell the hell out of it.
Yes.
Roy London, always, he beat it into our heads. It was always, stop trying to be the lettuce. I mean, stop trying to be the salad. Be the best vegetable you can be, and do it 20 million ways. So they want cucumbers, or they
Love
want
it.
Brussels sprouts. They want Brussels sprouts boiled. They want it mashed. They want it puree, and you're the only one that can deliver it.
Yes.
And that is the thing. We want to be everything, and we compromise ourselves, because then we do something that we're not really qualified for. We Sometimes you get fired because they go, oh, she's not working. Something about it isn't working. Then you get fired and you blame yourself. I've been fired twice on jobs. The first time was and they both were sitcoms. the first time I was devastated because I auditioned, and I had a big juicy role. It was like 2 pages, a scene with the lead actor, and I was so excited when I came in to do the table read. I had one line, and the line made no sense. It made no, and I kept trying to figure out, okay, how do I do this line? How do I do this line? Every day I would come to the set trying to figure out how to do the line. And the last day that we were doing, what is it, the walkthrough, I was like, this doesn't feel right. And nobody said anything to me, but I went home. I was like, I went home. I got a call from my agent saying, don't go back tomorrow. You're being replaced. I was like, I didn't do it. And I said, but I left my stuff there. They said, go to the guard gate. They'll have it at the guard gate.
Oh, that's the worst.
So, and up until that point, I had always worked. It always went well, but that was something that I was not prepared for, because I had never been in a situation of being given a piece of material that I didn't know how to bring it to life. So then the second time I was on a pilot, and the lead of the pilot was so insecure that he kept getting people fired every day. An actor would get fired. I was sitting there doing my stuff. They had to keep pushing the shoot date because they kept firing people, so they weren't ready. And I would come in every day, do my stuff, and so So I was the last one of the group to get fired.
Oh,
But what was so
sucks.
funny was he would zone in on one actor. It was like he had a target every day. So then I just started laughing. I was like, oh, I guess my number's up now. He told the writers, we were doing a table read. He says, her lines are funnier than mine. So they rewrote it, came back, they reduced my lines.
Oh,
Then we had a blocking. We were blocking. He said, why does she have such a big desk? So we went to lunch, come back. The prop master got me a little kindergarten desk
oh.
at to prove a point to the guy. So I'm in this little desk. He says, why is she funnier than me? I left that day. I said, today is my day to go. And so I was ready for it that second time, but that's something we're not really trained for in classes, that they never tell you. You might get replaced. Yeah. Don't take it personal.
Yeah, you can't.
You have to just know they decided to do something else, or for some reason the lead actor doesn't care about you, doesn't, and it's about chemistry. I've seen actors get removed from the set because the main actor just didn't like their look. It wasn't their acting ability. They just didn't like their look.
Sucks.
And so this business is there's a lot of uncertainty. You have to walk in a lot of faith because there is uncertainty. You don't know what's going to go and what's not. I'm a big believer that you should also work on your own projects, create your own stuff, figure out how to do your stuff, because then you have a little bit more control. Then you have a little bit more say about how your character works, or how because you're the creator.
Yeah.
But I think that actors have to be, and we are very flexible, but we have to be more flexible. It's like you can't take it personal. You got to be able to show up. Your mental health has to be on point. You have to not take things personally. One thing I will share real quick, and then talking about mental health and stuff, our egos get bruised easily.
Oh yeah.
And in Ivana's class, well, actually, when I was taking a class with Daryl at Ivana's studios, I would have to literally say to myself before I walked through the threshold, my ego, I would say to my ego, you have to stay out. You can't come in the room. You cannot come in the room.
Yes.
Because I would, my first couple of months, I was so upset that I was not being treated as well as I thought I should be, and that I had to fight for my stuff. And then I was like, no, wait a minute. Why are you here? What is the point of being here? What did Roy teach you all those years ago? Because when I was with Roy, after a certain period, I was like, Roy, I need to be in the working actors class, because he had a couple of classes. One was, the regular acting. There were 2 regular acting classes, and then there was one for the working actors. I said, Roy, I'm a working actor. I don't understand why I'm not in that class. He was like, well, you're in a good class, da, da, da. And I fought for like 2 years to be in that working class.
Good.
I fought. I would show up every week to that class. I would sit there and watch, and I'd be in judgment. I'm better than them. I'm better than that. I'm better than that. And finally, when he finally said to me, you're ready to come to the class, I said, no, I like where I'm at. Because I realized
that story.
I realized that I was fighting, my ego was fighting. The better actors were in the class I was in, but the name actors were in the other class. And so I remember waking up and going, they're not that good. They're okay, but they're not. We're doing really good work in this class. And so as an actor, when you're taking classes, you have to put your ego to the side so you can really get the information, really learn what you're supposed to uh, get as an actor, instead of, because it's so easy for us to compare ourselves with other actors. It's so easy
Yes.
for us to judge other people's work. They may be working, but you're not their type. You're a different flavor than them. It's kind of like saying, how come restaurants always put ketchup on their counters, but they never put seasoned salt? It's like, well, everybody doesn't want seasoned salt, but everybody wants ketchup. Everybody wants ketchup and mustard. So are you a ketchup and mustard type actor, or are you a seasoned salt type actor? Are you a garlic type actor? What is it that you bring? And because your superpower may be so specific that you should honor that, as opposed to want to be the cookie cutter actor. There are actors that work, but they're cookie cutter actors.
Yeah.
They you see them on shows all the time, but they never stand out. There's no shine to them. They do the job. They know their lines. They hit the marks. They're easy to get along with, but they're never going to be superstars.
Yeah.
And they're okay with that. And so you can't compare the work that they're doing to the work that you do. So that's something that I learned, thank God I learned it early. But every now and then I still have to put my ego in check and go, you know what? Do not be comparing. That has nothing to do with you. Mind your business.
And that's hard as an actor, because we do compare and we do. But I love that, the ego check. Love, love, love it, because it happens and it's not good. But I do have to say one thing. I don't know how long we much have, and I have to thank you for this. So before the strike, the last year, Lydia, I keep on getting called back to the same offices, like multiple shows, multiple times. And I remember what you told me years and years ago, that you got called back to an office, I don't know, 7 or 8 times, and you finally got the job. I'm not joking. You are common sense, mamita, because a lot of times, like, I'll be like, what, am I doing something wrong? And then I have to sit back and go, wait, they wouldn't keep calling you in if they didn't like you, if you weren't a good actress. They're trying to find a part for you. So, like, to all these actors out there listening, because this year I got a little frustrated because it was happening I'm like, they're calling me back again. It's a good thing. And for me, I just go, that's okay. When the part is mine, I'll go in. They know I'm good and I'll get it. But that's a hard pill to swallow. But I swear to you, I remember your story from forever ago. And it really, really helped me not think it was me, if that makes sense. So thank you.
It's important. It's important. And that's another thing people don't tell you. Sometimes you will go up for a part multiple times. They'll keep calling you back and calling you back. And you have to either, because this happened to me a lot at a certain time in my life. And I remember going, you know what? And it was an internal thing. I said, this is the last time I'm going in. They either give me the job or they don't. And I verbalized that.
I remember.
In the room. I said, listen, I've been here 6 times already. You should know what you want. I'm not coming back. Either you hire me or that's it. But I'm not coming back. I've had it. Y'all decide. And I booked the job. I'm not saying do this, but I had made a decision that was it for me. That I had shown them the goods enough,
Yeah.
and they had to decide, because they were like, well, and I remember one job, and this was when I was with Roy, because I went in, I knew it was my job. That's another thing. You got to know when it's yours.
Yes.
You have to be confident to know this is mine. And I remember going in and I nailed it, and I left, and so I told Roy. he had coached me on it, and he happened to be friends with the producer, and he said, "Oh, she liked you, but she didn't think you were right." I said, "What? She didn't think I was right?" Yeah, they're going to go see other people. And they went to Chicago, they went to New York. And I remember telling Roy, they'll be back.
Yeah, I love it.
This has my name on it. And I wasn't being cocky. I knew in my gut that it was mine. And sure enough, they saw all these actresses in Chicago and New York. And then they came back and they said, my agent called, they said, "Well, they want to see you one more time." So I went in, I did my stuff. And then again, the producer told Roy, "Yeah, I don't think so." And I said, "Roy, this is my job." I went in 2 more times after that. And the last time I went in, it was someone's pool house. It was in the back. It was in Studio City. They were having the auditions in their pool house. It was a huge, their pool house was bigger than my apartment, but there were all the what do you call it? All the department heads were there. I mean, they had a lot of people in this room. And I walked in, I did my stuff, and then I turned to them. I said, "Decide what you want, because I ain't coming back." And I walked out. And then the producer, and I think that might have been what they were looking for, to see that kind of sassiness.
Yeah.
But I booked it. The producer called Roy that day, said, "Oh, we're going to use her. We're going to use her." So
Yay!
I just think it's important to walk in confidence, not arrogance, because there's a difference between being arrogant and being confident. To know, you know what? I know that this is my part. I know that I'm great at it. And I remember losing one job. I knew I had nailed it, but I didn't understand what they were looking for was someone who had a lot of breasts. That was funny, but had a lot of breasts. So what was most important for them was to have an actor that had a lot of bosom, not so much. And so, and I went over the casting director's head, because when they said, "Oh yeah, she was great, but she's not pretty enough." And that was not the thing to say to me. I had a friend at ABC who was in casting, like big, this was a casting director who was independent, who was hired through ABC. But I called ABC. I said, "Look," I called my friend. I said, "Look, these people don't want to bring me in for callbacks, but I'm right for this." So they brought me in for callbacks, and the casting director never forgot it, and he never called me back in. But I was ready to blow up that bridge, because I really believed that I was right for the role. And I think sometimes you got to fight for yourself to go, "Okay, well, you know what? I'm taking a chance on me. I'm sorry. I don't mean to disrespect the casting director, but I believe I'm right for it." And you have to be okay with saying, "Okay, I blew up the bridge, and not going to get called in there anymore." But at least I had no regrets. I never looked back and went, maybe I should have not. No, I took care of myself at that moment. So I think it's important. I want to ask you, because you were kind enough to go through Acting Smarter Now,
I love the book.
program.
Planner. Yes.
And the planner. And I want to find out, because you've been doing it for a long time, what did you glean from it that as a working actor you went, "Oh, I could use this. This could go in my toolkit"?
So I am a fan of it all. Like, love, love, love it all. But what really, really helped me was keeping the organization of who you've been with, when, where, if you can, write a thank you note, this and that. Because, we have busy lives, and you like, relationships take time. You have to keep on the relationships with the people that have seen you. And that is what I needed. Because, a lot of times you'll go into an audition and you don't hear anything, because that's the name of the game. But if you send a note, if you do this, and if you do that, it's like you start building a relationship, and you don't have to be so scared. You're like, no, wait, I have a relationship. When something comes up, they will use me. So I love that aspect of it all. The book, and, we talked about finances. What I really loved in the planner, the actual, and I like hard copy, is how easy it is to keep track of the money you spent, because as an actor, it's a tax write-off, and it is so easy to spend all this money, because you do have to spend money to make whatever classes, pictures, accounts, whatever, and that is so useful, because I would just throw everything in an envelope, and then when tax time comes, be like, oh, what is this? What is that? The planner, again, I'm a hard copy person. The online one is great, but I that has really helped me. Thank you. But just as a whole, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a fan of you. I love you. I think you're wonderful. This planner and online, every actor of every level, it will help, because it, like I just said, it's about building relationships. It's about, this is a business. What am I selling? Because that, for me, it took me a while to be like, oh, wait, who am I? What am I selling? And then you look at TV and film a little bit differently. You start seeing actors and start seeing the famous actors. Oh, this is what they sell. And it just helps you. It helps you become a better business person, because acting is a business, but it helps you really hone in, like what you just said a little while ago, that you jump into the stuff that you're really good at. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And I would say about the thank you notes, following up, that is crucial.
It is.
That is crucial. That is your business. So it doesn't matter how busy you are, you have to set time once a week to write your notes. I prefer writing them when I first get back, because it's fresh in my head. I know what I want to say, as opposed to maybe 2 weeks later and you go, oh yeah, I was supposed to send them a note and I forgot what I want to. No, if I do it when I first get home, it's done. They'll have
Yeah.
it within 2 days. That the Another reason for doing it right away is they may still be casting that part.
Yeah.
And because they got your note, they might go, you know what? We should bring Michelle Betts back in. Let's have her for the callbacks for the producers. Put her name on the list. I forgot all about, because sometimes they've had a full day and they might not remember you because you came at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
Or they might not remember you because you came before lunch.
Yeah.
But you did great. They liked you, but then they forgot you. And I've seen this happen working behind the scenes in production, producing projects. I've seen casting directors forget about an actor that they really loved, and then someone brought their name up. Well, what happened to that person? You want your note card or your postcard or your thank you note to be that, oh, I forgot about Lydia, let me bring her back in. That and I will add to that, as well as the thank you notes or the follow up, when you book a job, to thank the casting director.
Yes.
To give them a gift.
Yes.
To give them something. To say, thank you so much. I had the best time. And that's something that I learned from working in music, was that we remember people who are kind to us.
Absolutely.
Not the most talented all the time, but we remember people who are kind to us. Yes. And so remember that casting directors are people. They want to feel appreciated. They want to feel like they did something good by hiring you. So say thank you. Give them some flowers. Give them a plant. Go buy them a little gift at, I'm a big person on baskets. I don't know if you remember, but I used to talk about making a basket for your agent, for a casting director. You go to 99-cent store. It's not 99 cents anymore, but you go to 99-cent store and you buy little goodies. You buy a basket, you put little goodies in it, you wrap it in some nice cellophane, gift wrapping cellophane, and you drop it off for them. It makes
a
difference.
huge difference. I interned for a huge TV casting office, and I would see the actors that did that, and then I totally remember you and your baskets. It's and you don't have to go over the top. You don't have to spend a ton of money, but it being nice and kind is huge, 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 huge.
What are a couple of mistakes that you've seen actors make that you shake your head going, oh my God?
Okay, so I'm going to touch base on social media. So during the lockdown, lots of casting directors were holding lives. I mean, I had timers set on my phone. I listened to so many lives. And so now, like, I see on social media, and casting directors will always say, if we don't know you, don't hound us to call you in. And it amazes me that actors will, a casting director might post something, I'm right for this, but bring me in. It's like, no, please don't do that. Because it's like there's that fine line in, yes, let them know. If they know who you are, you might be able to send them like a nice little DM, but you can't bombard them and to make them where they don't want to call you in. Because there were tons of casting directors that would say there's so many desperate actors, and they don't mean to talk down, but they're like, they'll badger us, and that is just going to make them not call you in. Like sending a note, sending a fake note, commenting on their post, but having it be relevant to the post is very different than please hire me. There's etiquette, and there's that line where you just go, oh, please don't do that.
And that is desperation. I think they put it well. It is desperate. You want to be hungry, but you don't want to be desperate. The thing you don't want to be is, you don't want to stink up the room. You don't want to stink up social media in that, oh my God. Like, again, I have been fortunate to be behind the scenes in casting offices and seeing actors come in that was so desperate, you couldn't wait to get them out of the room.
Yeah.
Like, they brought it in with them. And so in social media, there is a rudeness, first of all, of people thinking they know you when they don't, or that they feel entitled for you to bring them in, or there's no foreplay. We don't get to know you. You're just coming in and saying, I want the job. It's like, wait a minute, I don't even know you. It goes back to what you said a few minutes ago. It's like, they don't know the casting director, haven't taken the time to research them, to find out what kind of projects they cast, how long they've been in the business. And I think every actor should research. You research the production company, you research casting directors, you research the writers. You want to know about these people. It's not just about you getting a job, but you creating community. And how do you create community? Is you get to know about people. You get to know a little bit about, when I do interviews, I do my research, whether you're my friend or not. I went through all your Instagrams just to find, okay, what do I want to talk about when we talk? Oh, okay, that's interesting. I went through your IMDb page. We should do that with casting. We should do that for auditions, even if it's a commercial casting. Find out what the product is. Maybe go to YouTube and look up some of the past commercials for McDonald's or the past commercials for Wendy's. And so you get an idea of what it is. But a lot of times actors don't have the common sense to go, if I really want this job, I should do my homework. They're just, give me the job.
Yes.
But you're not ready. You've already shown me you're not ready for the job. Show up, because it's not about that one job. that relationship will get you work down the line um if you treat it well, if you treat the person well, and treat the assistants well.
Well,
A lot of
that's
times,
another thing I was going to, sorry, I was going to tell you is that you got to be kind to everyone in the room and outside of the room. Cause when I've seen, like, back when like your first audition was in a room and there'd be like 8 people and one girl is rude and snotty, that third intern can say anything because nobody wants to work with a jerk, like, period. So like when you come into an audition, be nice to everybody, say hello to the camera operator. It makes a big difference. And the doing or listening to these lives, I heard that all the time. And I in my head I go, would someone really do that? And I'm like, oh wait, I've seen it.
they do it. Oh,
Yeah.
they do. I've been on the receiving end of it. Someone thinking I was the receptionist because I was sitting at the reception area, and they were very rude to me. And then when it was time for them to come into the audition, I was sitting right there with the casting director. And then all of a sudden it was, oh, hi. I was like, oh, you blew it when you were out there. You showed me who you were. And I am a big believer. You never know who's sitting outside.
You never know
who's in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So something I learned from Eric Estrada years and years ago when I was in a project with him, he said this, and I've always carried this with me. When you step out of your door, you are on. The minute you walk out of your door, you are on. Yes. That's it. You don't get to pick and choose who you're going to be nice to or not. You are kind to everybody.
Yeah, because who wants to work with a jerk on set? Like it you want to, yeah.
So, what would you like your legacy to be in the business?
I'd really, really, really like I said it earlier, I would love a multi-camera that ran for 5+ seasons, ensemble cast, so there's no like everybody's on the same level, and have I would love to be on a series for multiple seasons. And I love television. I love everything about television. I watch tons of it. But to be able to have a series like that would just be so magical and wonderful because you become a family. Us in LA, a lot of us move out here alone. And when you're on a TV show, you're working with the same people every day. I'd love to do that for 5+ years, and be a multicam comedy series regular, make people laugh.
I want to. This was a question I had earlier, and it just came back to me. But as an actor, I think when you're selling yourself, it's important to be able to give specifics to people when they said, "So what do you do?" I'm a combination between Viola Davis and Morgan Freeman. That's the type of acting I do.
For me, what is good, if I could pick 2, Leah Remini and Courtney Cox.
And I would add to that, because I was thinking about this for you, I would add Sandra Bullock and Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Because Sandra Bullock is a badass. She's a badass.
Yes, she is.
And Reese Witherspoon is a badass in a different kind of way. Like she's you underestimate her because she comes off bubbly.
Yeah.
But she's really bright. And to me, you represent someone who comes off really bubbly. Like I could take advantage of her, but then you go, what? You come with the spunk. So I was just thinking about that. So you can add that to your toolbox.
I love it, Lydia. Thank you.
Yeah. Cause I do think that you have not that who you mentioned wasn't great. I like Leah Remini. I like Courtney Cox, but I just think um, that Reese Witherspoon and Sandra Bullock have a they have a grit to them that is covered up, but it gives them a longevity in a different kind of way.
I like it. I
So,
love it.
so just my 2 cents.
Just wrote
there.
that down.
Yeah, yes. Well, this has been so much fun. It's been wonderful to be able to talk to you and talk about how you are an amazing, not just an amazing actor, but you really are. You have all the components. You are a good businesswoman. You are mindful. You are kind. You're no nonsense. You don't suffer fools. You, you don't hang out with foolish people, but that you are very intentional. And I think as actors we have to be intentional. We can have fun, we can do whatever, but we have to know where we're going. Where am I
Absolutely.
going? Where will I drive? A lot of times actors will just drive aimlessly and not have a specific place that they want to go to. So I just applaud you. I'm so
Thank
proud
you.
of you. I'm
Thank
proud of
you.
all the work that you've done. I'm proud of how you have really handled yourself in this business as an actor, and that you still have your kindness. You still are excited about the business. You still are the same person I first met at Ivana's studio. So I thank you so much.
Oh, Lydia, thank you.
And I appreciate you. And for those of you who want to get to converse with Michelle, you can reach her below. I will have all the information for you of what social media you can reach her on. Do you want to tell us where's the best place to reach you?
The best place is my Instagram, and it's Michelle Betts Fitness. I also post acting, but I post fitness tips. I post exercises you could do. So if somebody just is looking to maybe get a little bit healthy, I'm gonna get better at it. I got to be a little more active, but I post stories of foods that are healthy, and my thing is simple, because when you look, people get very about fitness, and I always say, don't look at it this big. What can you do today? Start small. So for me and my Instagram, all of my stuff is really small. I put acting stuff on there as well too. That's the best way.
So give me three before we go. Give me three tips for actors who don't work out that they could start doing today.
Okay, and that you're going to be like, why don't people do this? Go on walks. Every day after dinner, 3 to 5 times a week, go on a 20 to 30-minute walk. And for those people who who haven't started out with fitness, I'll have clients come to me and be like, I want to work out 5 days a week. No. You'll burn out and it will stop. You'll burn out and gain more weight. Start out small. Start out working out 2 days a week. A couple weeks later, add a third. And then little by little, let it grow. Start out with 30 minutes, then go to 45, then go to 60, because for health and fitness, slow and steady wins the race. And the third thing is nutrition. Nutrition is freaking vital. A lot of people don't eat fresh fruits and vegetables. And something very easy, look down at your plate. If you don't have color, add it. All of the fruits and vegetables that are rich with colors are nutrient dense. Spinach, kale, blueberries, red bell pepper. All you got to do is add it. So don't think about taking out the bad, add in the good, and then the bad will slowly just go away.
Thank you so much.
Yay!
I loved it. And for those of you who want some more, I've got all these great videos for you to watch. And
they're amazing.
Thank you. I suggest you go to Acting Smarter Now to get your copy of your planner or take the course. It really will help you no matter where you are in your career.
I swear it is the best. I am such a fan of this, Lydia. I love it. I love it. Every actor can benefit from it. Thank you for putting it together. Thank you for being fabulous and amazing. You are wonderful. I love you so much.
I love you too.